let's talk a little bit more specifically around cold negotiations. These are those negotiations where price is potentially the most important thing, and there may be differing interests for the two parties. So three specific pointers here. The first is that I want you to go first. And what I mean by that is get your price, your offer, your proposal, get it in first. And I know some people say, let them go first. Well, if you do that, you're giving them all the control. I want you to take control. Make sure you know what your offer is going to be and get in there and anchor it first. There's a whole separate tutoring session which I've done on anchoring. You can look that up. Now, not only are you going to go first, but I want you to do something else. I want you to do what's called going extreme, and that means aim for the stars. If you're buying something, go low, and there's three reasons that I want you to do that. The first reason for aiming for the stars is that, well, if you do it effectively and credibly, what you're going to do is shift their expectations. They already should be thinking, well, do you know what? I might have to adjust what I'm going to get from this, my own expectations, because of the way you have anchored it. The second and third things that it will do are both on the basis that, well, you're not going to get it. And what I like you to consider is you should never get your opening position in a negotiation. Think about it the other way around. If you do ever get your opening position, you're probably going to walk away from it thinking, do you know what? I think I could have got a bit more. And that's the last way that you want to be thinking about it. So you get your opening position out there, and then you're going to have to move from it at the right time. When you move from it, it will do two things. The first thing that it will do is, well, it's going to allow the other party to feel that they're getting the best deal that they could. They're going to feel like they're beating you, and that is entirely the way that you want them to feel. And the third thing that it will do is, as you move from it, you're more likely to engender a move from them as well. You're unlikely to get them to move by saying, I'm not moving, but I want you to. They're going to dig their heels in. Instead, show them some movement, some willingness, and they're more likely to move. So therefore, you need to be able to afford to move. So that's the first thing I want you to think about when you're involved in cold negotiations. It's going first and going a bit more extreme. The second thing that I want you to consider when you're involved in a cold negotiation is that the likelihood is that, well, do you know what? It is going to be a bit uncomfortable. It's going to be a bit tough. You know, when you're involved in a negotiation with a second-hand car dealer, do you know what? They do it day in, day out. They're used to it. They don't find it so uncomfortable anymore. And that's one of the reasons why many people want to avoid that discomfort. A lot of people are actually prepared to pay a little bit more just to avoid the discomfort. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's just not an option. That's not acceptable. So, do you know what? Get over it. It's going to be uncomfortable. You can live with it for a short period of time as long as you understand why and where it's coming from. It's not personal. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be aggressive, but you just have to accept the fact that it might be a bit uncomfortable. Now, the third thing to bear in mind in these cold negotiations is that, well, this one's a little bit counterintuitive, and that is that you actually want to hear the word no. No is a good thing in negotiation. You want to use it and you want to hear it, specifically in cold negotiations. So accept it. How do you know that you're pushing the limits of a negotiation? How do you know that you're capturing all of the value that you want to capture in negotiation if they just say yes to everything that you're asking for or offering?